Unconditional love, it's the phrase that echoes through songs, movies, and countless conversations. We hold it up as the ultimate ideal, the purest form of affection we can offer or receive. It's the love that supposedly asks for nothing in return, that remains steadfast regardless of circumstance, that embraces flaws and mistakes without hesitation. But let's be honest, is unconditional love ever truly possible? Or is it merely a comforting myth we tell ourselves to make the complexities of human relationships easier to bear? We grow up hearing about it, don't we? Parents are supposed to love their children unconditionally. Lovers are expected to accept each other without reservation. Friends are believed to stand by one another no matter what. It sounds beautiful. It sounds like the kind of love that can heal wounds and bridge impossible divides. But when we start looking closer, the picture becomes less clear, more tangled. Because love, as we experience it, is rarely free from conditions. It's wrapped up in expectations, boundaries, and the unspoken agreements between people. We love because someone shows kindness, respects our feelings, or shares our values. We pull away when those things fade. We feel hurt when love feels withheld or conditional. Yet those very conditions often shape how love is expressed and sustained. So where does that leave the idea of love without conditions at all? If we pause and reflect, we might admit that what we call unconditional love is often more complex, more fragile than the ideal suggests. It's tempting to believe in a love that is absolute and unwavering, especially because it promises a kind of safety, a refuge from the uncertainties of human connection. But maybe that promise itself is an illusion. Maybe unconditional love, in the way we imagine it, is less about reality and more about hope. Look at the people closest to us, our families, our closest friends. We tell ourselves that familial love, especially between parents and children, is the most unconditional love there is. But even this love carries its own set of quiet conditions. There are expectations of behavior, unspoken rules about respect and care. When those expectations are violated, love can feel strained or even withdrawn. That's not to say the love isn't deep or enduring, it often is. But it's rarely free of boundaries. Boundaries. There's a word that often gets overlooked when we talk about love. Yet, it's central to how love functions in real life. Boundaries are the lines we draw to protect ourselves, to maintain our sense of self and well-being. They define what we can give and what we need in return. They keep us from losing ourselves in the other person or in the relationship. Without boundaries, love risks becoming self-sacrifice to the point of harm or erasure. So, when someone says they love you unconditionally, what do they really mean? Often, it means they love you with an understanding of your limits and theirs. They love you with an awareness that there will be moments of disappointment or hurt, but they choose to stay despite those moments, not because they ignore them, but because they accept them as part of the whole. That's different from saying love has no conditions at all. It's about choosing, again and again, to love within the reality of human imperfection. This brings us to a difficult truth: unconditional love, as a pure and absolute state, might not exist. That's not despair. That's waking up to reality. It's recognizing that love isn't a magical force that binds us regardless of what happens, but a dynamic, evolving process that involves choice, effort, and sometimes painful honesty. But why does this matter? Because when we cling to the myth of unconditional love, we set ourselves up for confusion and disappointment. We expect others to love us without limits, and when they don't, it feels like rejection. We also may stay in relationships that harm us, thinking that love means enduring anything. That's not healthy. It's not love, it's endurance without care. So, what if we shifted the way we think about love? What if instead of chasing an impossible ideal, we embraced love as something conditional, intentional, and alive? Love that grows from mutual respect and understanding. Love that recognizes boundaries not as walls but as guides. Love that chooses presence and commitment despite flaws and challenges. We might lose the fairy tale, but we gain something richer: a love that is honest, real, and sustainable. Because love that acknowledges conditions isn't less than love, it's love that knows itself. It's love that can hold space for both joy and pain, freedom and connection. And so, as we begin this exploration together, let's hold this question close. What does it really mean to love, if not unconditionally? What does it mean to accept someone, and ourselves, within the delicate balance of give and take, of needs and limits? The answer won't be simple, and it won't be perfect. But it is worth seeking. Because in the end, love is not just a feeling. It's a choice. A practice. A living, breathing act that we shape every day, with every word and gesture. And maybe that's where the true power lies, not in the myth of unconditional love, but in the courage to love anyway, despite conditions, despite imperfections, despite everything. So let's keep asking, and keep learning. Because love, in all its forms, deserves nothing less.